Thank you very much. I wasn't going to miss this for the world. You know the business I'm in, you know what I do, and things come up. And there have been occasions where I've had to cancel. I let my people know weeks ago, I'm not missing this, okay? To the graduates, I don't think I've ever seen a more impressive group of young men. Certainly not in the last several years. To President Whitaker, I mean, thanks for having me. Thanks for talking to me. And Headmaster Washington, I really appreciate this. I want to call him Marcus. I've known him all his life. You know, I know his family. Just a good man. And good young men grow up to be men like him. I bring you greetings, you know, from Channel 9. I've been doing this for a long, long time, long before you were born, before some of your parents were born. And I'm reminded of something I heard LeBron James say not long ago. He had just scored, I don't know, 45 points in a game, and he had gotten a lot of criticism from the media. And the reporter, very much like myself, sticks a mic in his face, and what do you say to your critics, blah, 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 blah. LeBron James looks at this guy and he says, "Are you kidding me? I'm from Akron, Ohio. I'm not even supposed to be here." That's my story. I'm not supposed to be here. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I believe in telling you a little bit about who this guy is, who's been given this honor to speak to you. If you can relate to this, fine. And if you can't, fine. You'll be able to use it somewhere when you run across somebody like me. Before I get to that, though, I want to tell you about somebody I met just yesterday. And I don't have to go back far to you know, I tell stories. I don't have to go back far to find stories to tell you. So yesterday, I walk into the newsroom, and they're like, "Oh, man, we need a story from you. There's nothing going on." And I always have a story in my pocket that I can pull out. And it's normally a feature story that I really want to do. It's not something breaking, and it's normally not something somebody else is going to have, because, you know, I like having stories nobody else has. And somebody had said to me, there's a young lady by the name of Rashima Melson, who is a senior at Anacostia High School. She's a valedictorian, graduated with a 4-point average. She's got over $100,000 in scholarship money waiting for her. And then they told me what I need to hear to make me drop everything else to go talk to this child. She's homeless. She lives in the city's homeless shelter, DC General Hospital. She's been there for 2 years with her mother and some younger siblings. Don't feel sorry for this child. I went in expecting to feel sorry for her. She didn't need my pity. I walked out a better man having met her. She talked about the love for her family. She talked about how she has to make it and do what she's doing, including studying for some 12 hours a day, going to school 12 hours a day, because her mother wasn't able to do this. All her mother had to give her was love. They've lived from town to town, back here in D.C., neighborhood to neighborhood. They've been in Montgomery County, Prince George's County, then back in D.C., and then finally couldn't pay the rent. They're out in the street. They're at the shelter. And her classmates, her peers at Anacostia High, and she takes, you know, college prep courses. She tutors them because, as she said to me, you can't judge anybody. You don't know what the circumstances are. She's telling me this. She's teaching me. So she tutors them. And she spends all this time at school, and plus she's an athlete. She's on the track team, and she's on the flag football team. Her day starts at 7 o'clock in the morning with a run, okay, from the homeless shelter. Then she gets to class. She's got all these college prep courses. Then she's got, you know, her athletic activities. Then she's got tutoring. By the time she gets home at night, it's about 10 o'clock at night. Kind of like your schedules. You know, I'd like for you guys and this young lady to talk to some of the public school officials. I think we need to extend the school day for all of the kids. Because to this day, and the president and I have been talking about, why do we send our kids home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? To do what? I said in the beginning that I don't belong here. I grew up in a household, public housing, Louisville, Kentucky. Never knew my father. I had 2 stepfathers. One just deserted us. The other was just brutal. He was a drunk. He beat my mother. Guns went off in our house. He shot my mother one time. 2 of my brothers went to prison. The reason why I'm standing here, and again, I don't belong here, is because somebody decided. I went to Immaculate Heart of Mary grade school. That's all we had was the church and the school. That was our institution, our structure. My role models were Italian priests, and their English was about as good as my Italian. But they were the football coaches, baseball coaches, and every sport they wanted to turn into soccer. And we're like, what is soccer? They decided when I was 13 that I was going into the seminary to study to be a priest. And I thought I wanted to be a priest. I thought I had gotten the calling. So there were 13 guys in my class, and freshman year went great. Sophomore year, and God entered the dorm, and he says, Bruce, a lot of guys in here have gotten the calling. You're not one of them. and so I left the seminary after 2 years. But I bring it up because those 2 years, ages 13 and 14, about your ages, 2 most important years of my life. It enabled me to see there's a world out there. It introduced me to men and fellow students who wanted what's best for me. I developed a new set of norms, if you will. I learned to appreciate myself and realize that not only could I learn to speak standard English, putting nouns and verbs together, I could learn Latin. And if God had allowed me to come back a 3rd year, I would have been taking Greek. Probably wouldn't have made it, but at any rate. So you take those 2 years and you build on it. That's what you're going to do. You're just starting out. You're going to build on this. That woman I told you, my mother had 8 kids, okay? At age 52, she graduated from college. That's the stock I come from. That's the stock you come from. After I finished college, then my other siblings go to college. 2 of my brothers went to prison. 1 came out, decided to go to college just because Bruce went to college, got a degree in economics. This is what we're about. Options, choices, opportunities. That's what you've been given, opportunity. Now, somewhere in the literature, it says tuition here is free, if you're lucky enough to get in. There are 1 trillion people waiting to get in. It's just, are you going to be lucky enough to be chosen? You know you're not the only one who qualifies for those seats. By the grace of God and your parents and the faculty here, you get a seat. Now the question becomes, what are you going to do with it? Nothing is free. These aren't free educations. Somebody's paid for it. That's where your sponsors come in, I suppose. I had sponsors in the seminary. I know their names to this day. They were the Kleins. They were from Wheeling, West Virginia. They're paying my tuition. They don't know me, but they believed in me. They invested in me. People have invested their time, their goodwill, their educations, all of that in you. I loved what the president said. What Bill had to say about you guys, you're the best of the best. Highest grade point average. You know, I was a C student for the most part. Highest grade point average, good athletes. But the other things he said, that's what really grabbed me, because you know what I do. Every day, I'm out here covering multiple shootings, young black male, looking like you, like my kids. Something has happened. Or it's an elected official being led away in cuffs or about to be led away in cuffs. I need this more than you do. I need to come here and see you because you guys will be the guys that I can call at some point. Well, I want to talk about not just what's wrong with urban America, but when I want to talk about banking, finance, world affairs, when I want to talk about things that impact everybody, not just us as a people, I can go to you guys because you don't have any limits. That's one of the things you've learned here. You have no limits. All the time we're growing up, and most of your peers who aren't fortunate enough to get into places like this, they are told from the beginning you have limitations. You and I both know young people, your ages, who are not able to defer some of those major decisions that adults only are supposed to be making. Where am I going to live? What am I going to eat other than a bag of chips and a soda? How am I going to protect myself? How am I going to get from this place to that place without getting jumped? You know this goes on. You know people like that. I know people like this. They watch you. They watch you back there. You're the leaders. You can turn it around. You can let them know regardless of your circumstances. It starts here. It's an inside job. And if you speak out, find somebody who has what you want, do what they're doing. They're available to you. That's what you have. Sometimes you have to make your own road despite where you come from, your means. You guys are lucky. You got this massive support group here. A lot of our young people don't have that. They're clinging by their fingernails. This young lady that I talked about, Anacostia High, I don't know how she does it. She doesn't know what it's like to have her own bathroom. She doesn't know what it's like to not come home to a room where 4 and 5 people are sleeping in one room, everybody's got a mattress on the floor, and she's trying to do pre-calculus, and her siblings want to play their music or video games. How do you book? How do you get ready? She's explaining this to me yesterday. She will be fine. She's going to Georgetown. We're going to give her support, and not just the dress she needs and the size 9 shoes she needs. She can only have so many dresses, so many shoes she can wear. She needs more of a support group, and she's going to get that now because she was smart enough and bold enough to tell her story, and people brought her to the attention of others. You guys are going to be the leaders. You're going to be the ones that everybody watches, and I love what you said about the number of people they're going to reach. You will set the examples, and you're ready for it. Sky's the limit for you. You're the chosen few. I'm impressed with the fact that all these guys used to be here, probably got other things they could be doing, but this is the best place for them. This is where they'd rather be. You know why? Because when you were sitting here, there are other guys back there for them. It's part of the frat. That's what you do. You support one another. You will remember the faculty here. You will remember your classmates here. You will remember the address of this place, 8108 Beachmont Avenue. That's the address of the seminary that I was in Cincinnati, Ohio. Most important stop I ever made. And this is the beginning, the most important stop for you, because you're going from young boys to men. You're learning to negotiate their process of being boys and young men. It's a very difficult process. And mom and grandma all the time can't do it. But these guys can, They know, they can let you know what the expectations are for men, how men behave toward women, how men behave toward one another. You know. Everybody out there will be watching. You'll be able to handle it. I'm so proud to be here. Thanks.